Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Real Estate with Gwen Price. And I'm very happy to be with Trina Tallon, a mortgage agent with Neighbourhood Dominion Lending, and Lana Watier, the broker of record for Keystone Real Estate. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, we are going to have a very hot topic, but I just want to get the stats out of the way right now, just to let people know what is going on. So about for the last 5 months now, the average sale price in the city of Greater Sudbury has been relatively flat. It's still around the 480 something, 490-ish, maybe slightly dropped from, this is going to the end of June, maybe slightly dropped from May. The number, if you compare from last year, the number of listings is down about 2%. The number of sales is down about 11%. But the average sale price, comparing it to last year at the end of June, is up 25%. So we haven't, I know there's a lot of people just keep saying, oh, I'm going to wait for the prices to crash. That's not going to happen. I think it's going to stay stable, just the way it's been for the last few months. But of course, we are seeing a shift in the market, and I looked at the months of inventory, which the month of inventory is the number of active sales compared to the number of solds. And we were about 2 months of inventory up until about June, when it became 3. Right now in July, it's showing 6 months of inventory, but that's not the end of July yet. So it's really, we can't really say. I think we're headed into a balanced market, which when you're balanced market, you've got about 5 to 7 months of inventory. When you get over that, then you're in a buyer's market. And we're not in a buyer's market yet. There's still multiple offers happening, especially in some price ranges. But we do see, like we were just chatting before, the number of showings, the number of offers has dropped, and probably in certain price ranges in particular. But I don't know how you're feeling about things, but like I was saying to you, I just kind of keep going forward, but you can't help but notice there is a shift in the market, and sellers are going to have to sort of understand that it's not the market it was, where everything was fast and furious. You were getting 20, 30 showings, and you were getting 10, 20 offers on some properties. That's not happening. That ship has sailed. And and now, of course, with the Bank of Canada hitting us with a big one, that definitely is affecting things.
Yeah, you're right, Gwen. I think people are, most sellers are, if you're expecting to get those big numbers, big multiple offers, big overlist sales, they're not happening like you said, like they were 6 months ago. Properties that you would expect to get multiple showings right away are taking a little bit longer. Now, what I say a little bit longer, but it's really back to normal. In some instances where, your property gets listed, and then, you have to wait a couple of days for showings to happen. You don't get a deluge of 20 showings in 24 hours. Day kind of thing. Yeah. It's going to take a little bit longer to get that marketing out there, to get that property viewed enough to get the active buyers in there, because yes, people are taking a step back and, seeing what's happening with the market. And now, Trina, with the mortgage rate increase, the Bank of Canada increase, that I'm sure is going to have its effect as well.
Yeah. So Trina, tell us.
I don't want to talk today. I'm talked out.
Yeah, well, because it was a big jump, right? It's not as little, jump in the rates, but.
So I have been contemplating this. Well, I think about rates on a daily basis, usually quite often at 3 o'clock in the morning. What's going to happen, what should do, what should happen. Exactly. Yeah, this is when we should be doing our calls. So if we, you use, when you use the term fast and furious a few minutes ago, and even though what you said was true pertaining to like houses going up for sale. I still believe that ever since the beginning of 2020, it has life in general and all these curveballs that keep getting thrown at us in these unprecedented times.
Yeah.
And we're still living in fast and furious times where no one knows what the heck to do next kind of thing.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get some perspective here. Let's go back to January 2020 when the prime rate was 3.9. All right. And typically, so what happens is in the AAA lending world, less than 20% down, the rate discount has been about 1%. So let's say it is 1% for all intents and purposes, and let's go back. And so that would have put people at a 2.9% variable rate. In March or April, I was just looking at this yesterday, when we went into lockdown, the bank dropped that prime rate from 3.9 to 2.45. So that was a massive drop, right? That was 1.45% drop. So people with that 1% discount were all of a sudden paying 1.4% interest rates on their mortgage. Cheap.
Yeah.
So let's look at fixed rates back then. A fixed rate about that time was about 3.2, let's say, back when prime was 3.9. So then you had your discount off of that. And then we had some weird stuff happen with fixed rates when COVID first happened with the lockdowns, where we saw like an unprecedented time where fixed rates were actually lower than the variable was with the discount. And it was for a very short period of time, maybe a couple of weeks. So there's a few people out there that have fixed rates of like 1.39.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Not a lot in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
So big mistake dropping the prime rate by 1.45% in one shot. But they did it in reaction to stimulating the economy, because we all thought, if you think back to those days, we all thought that we were in a lot of trouble, like everything was going to bottom out. And guess what? The exact opposite happened.
Yeah. You're right.
So that drop in prime stimulated our economy, that we are basically at a zero rate of unemployment now. Like, that's crazy. So what they've done is that they've had to correct this prime rate, and they did it in an insanely fast manner. So what has happened is, in a short period of time, we've gone from 2.45 to 4.7. So that's like a 2.25% increase in a very short period of time. But let's look at the fixed rates. So back then, the fixed rates were about the 3 and a bit mark, like I said. Today, a 5-year fix for less than 20% down is like 5.1. So there's been a 2% increase in that fixed rate from before to now. If we look at prime and the variable rate, we've actually only had a 0.8% increase from 2020 to now. It's just that so there's my perspective.
Yeah. Well,
because I am also in a variable rate, the majority of my clients are taking advantage of those awesome savings that we all got to have with that major drop that happened and stayed in place for 2 years. That's a huge savings on your mortgage. And now it's gone up, but we were all spoiled with that super low rate. And now it's come up, so most people are around like the 3.6 to the 3.7% interest rate now, versus 1.45. And that's the big shocker, right?
Yeah.
And always prepared my clients, be prepared. They can't give away free money. This can't be free forever. But 70% of Canadians break their mortgage in a 5-year term. So You want to pay the 3 months interest only on a variable, or you want to roll the dice and potentially be into like a 5, 10, 15, $20,000 penalty with a fixed rate. We don't know what's going to happen. So that's my bit on all of this. What do the economists say about cooling off? Basically, if you look at it and you look back, going back to the 80s, because everyone's talking about the 80s, right? And where inflation was in the 80s, where interest rates are in the 80s. We're nowhere near the interest rates that we had in the 80s at this point. What goes up must come down. So right now, holding into your variable rate mortgage is the way to do it, because converting to a fixed, you're going to be over 5%, which is going to be anywhere from 1.3 to 1.5% more than what your variable is right now. And then I have like, but Trina, you know, a few months ago or last year, the variable rate would have been like 2.69. Well, guess what? You're paying 1.45.
Yeah.
So it's that graph that people need to consider and think about and budget for and things like that. So I got no phone calls when Prime took a major dive, and
No, of course not.
everyone was super happy to not have to, you know,
Yeah.
to have a super decrease in their mortgage payments. And now, yeah, we're coming back up again. But as soon as we see fixed rates start to go down again, which will happen because that's what happens. We do this, right?
Yeah.
Then everything starts to slide back down again. And the economists are saying 2023, 2024 kind of thing. That's their guess. But like, we're going to go back to Fast and Furious. It's wild and crazy out there. Everything like to like stock market, what to invest in, commodities. I have people buying gold bars and sticking them in their walls, and all kinds of stuff is happening right now. And I'm just sitting back and going, okay.
Well, and a lot of people, of course, you read the headlines and you buy into that panic mode, right? Thinking the sky is falling. And you can't compare Sudbury to Toronto or some of the big centers that are experiencing some drops in their prices. For sure they are. But I find Sudbury is much more stable and has been for a number of years. So and yes, did we all of a sudden go from an average sale price of 200 and something and now it's closer to 5? Yes, but we're still well below a lot of other centers, and it's a very stable place to invest in. So that's what we are still getting people looking here and buying here, not just all Sudburyans.
Well, there's always buyers and sellers. There's always going to be people buying and selling, no matter what kind of market we're in. When we were back in you know, when it was a buyer's market and there were, you know, hundreds of properties on the market, and the prices were a lot lower, people were buying and selling. When the Inco was on strike, people were buying and selling. When the interest rates are high, people are buying and selling. It's just like you say, Trina, it's a, you know, it's a wave, but there's always people buying and selling, no matter what type of market we're in.
I would 100% agree. And you know, the media all my life, ever since I don't know, maybe grade 8 economics class, all my life, the media has driven me crazy, because we know that they like do it like current now panic and
well, that's what sells, right? It's all about the drama. It's all about the drama. Let's get everybody worked up and freaked out. It's all about the drama.
Exactly.
Those are the big stories.
So yeah, so with the rates and with the housing market and prices, if folks actually, the media has a really awful time of going month over month instead of reporting on what has happened in the last 1 year, 2 year, 5 years kind of thing. And if folks actually took a look at those graphs, they would see that, yes, quite a few of the major centers have had a decrease in their average sale price, but sale prices significantly spiked from November to February, right, of 2021, 2022. And then that was like a really weird time, I find. Like just when I thought it couldn't get any stranger from like March 2020 forward,
Yeah.
it got really weird in those months. And so, yes, they've seen a drop of month over to month, but that's comparing a graph that does this and then now it's doing this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
like, boom, we're back to the price of houses in 1999.
Well,
Yeah.
and people that are expecting, like you say, Gwen, people are all going to wait till the prices go down. Well, they're not going to go down significantly enough to make a dramatic difference on your mortgage or what you're buying. So yeah, the prices might go down, 10,000, 15,000 here or there, but in the grand scheme of things, when you calculate that $15,000 over a 25-year amortization of a mortgage, you're talking about pennies here. So, we're not going to go back to pre-COVID pricing. It's just unrealistic to expect that to happen. And the market trend is always, even though it's up and down, it's always on an upside. When you look
100%, Lana,
at those
you're right.
graphs, Trina, it is still on an incline, even though there are dips and whatnot throughout that incline. It is still on an incline. And that's for everybody. Like that, not just Sudbury, that's the trend.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's just economics. That's just how it works.
Well, my first house
Absolutely.
was 30 some thousand. I don't expect to find a house again for 30 some thousand. Excuse me, over time, real estate appreciates, right? It does. It would have to be a drastic thing and a whole world collapse or something for that to change, because no matter what, people do buy, people do sell. I think what sellers just need to get used to is that you're going to see more conditional offers than we do every day. Excuse me, on our hot sheets, sometimes conditional on financing, sometimes a combination of financing and inspection. We're starting to see that. We're starting to see things staying, like still people are putting, no offers until, but they're also sticking in, we'll look at an offer before that, but give us 24 hours. A lot of listings are being done that way. So there's still opportunities for buyers. And there's still opportunities for sellers. If you've been in your house 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years or 40 years, you've got an asset that's worth a lot of money still.
Yeah, there's still good equity in your property for sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah.
One very important item to mention is that anyone with pre-approvals right now, they're not any good anymore.
Yes, that's what I was going to ask you. So
because now instead of 5.25 as the benchmark rate, we're between 6 and 7.5% for benchmark rate.
Okay.
So the 6% comes into play with people who are going variable with less than 20% down. So it's about, like, I would say 5.7, but I'm rounding up to 6. For my pre-approvals now, and in the fixed rate world, you're at 7.5 for a benchmark now, which is a huge difference from 5.25.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So that's good to think about for our buyers for sure. And well, I'm still I can't buy into all the negativity. I'd just curl up in a ball somewhere and not do anything. And I know I've been doing this a long enough time. I've seen every type of market we've ever experienced. This last seller's market was pretty unique. We were dealing with lots of different things during that time. So that was sort of an unusual one, but it's a cycle in real estate, and it will, whatever goes up, goes down slightly, but we don't see the big peaks and valleys here in Sudbury that we used to. We see much more stability in our real estate world. So I know that the buyers, there's still opportunities. And for some of them, I have been able to get my buyers a house without competing with 20 other people, but it's still challenging for some, for sure it is. But yes, and for the sellers just have to sort of think about things a little differently right now, but they're still going to be able to sell their houses. It's not like all of a sudden they can't sell their house. It will happen. It's just a different way that we have to look at things and realize that it's not going to be the way it was 6 months ago, 3
Oh, yeah.
months ago, you know, so anyway.
Absolutely.
And we have beautiful weather out there, and when the sun's shining, I'm always in a positive frame of mind. Seeing my garden change every day is wonderful. That's my therapy, digging in the dirt. Soil, it's soil, yes.
Soil.
Anyway,
Well, that's great.
yeah, well, thank you, ladies, and we'll see what happens in the coming month. But like I say, houses are selling and people are buying, so.
Yep.
That's right.
Well, that's great. Thanks,
Okay.
ladies.
Thank
talk to
you
you
very
soon.
much.
Chat
Okay.
soon.
Enjoy your day.
There's the dog saying that's
There you
it.
go. Yeah, time to go.
Okay, bye.
We'll
Bye.
see you later.
Yeah.